Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And Bluedragonfive. So, folks, as you probably guessed, since this is the second one of these that we are doing, very recently we finished our long endeavor of covering the Joker blogs on the Joker blogs case study. Essentially a fan series so good it might as well have been kind of canonized within the Nolan stuff. Only problem is never had an ending, left a really unsatisfying kind of vibe in the room. So, thankfully, as a contingency, I always had the Blinky500 Mr.J series of fan films. Not really a fan series, but just kind of like a number of standalone fan films that were so popular, sequels kept getting made, like most successful franchises. So that's what we're here to do. We're not trying to do like a full-on just kind of compare and contrast, because these are two very different things and made in two very different spirits, but essentially adapting the same core concept. Kind of like the mad love story brought into a Nolanized kind of world. And they were gone about very differently. And we've talked about the works of Chris.R.Notarile before, and this is one of the early endeavors for Blinky500. So that's what we're here to do, talking the first of the sequels. Anything you say, Mr. J.
Yeah, that's right. So, Dragon, I can say, I think with this episode, I have a more firm grasp on Notarilli's performance as the Joker, which is very specifically, I can't look at it through the lens of Heath Ledger, because I think he is very much doing his own thing with it. I think outside of adapting the mad love of it all, and obviously we have a few tonal cues, definitely some music cues from The Dark Knight, but I think this one is very much more trying to do its own thing than the Joker blogs, which was kind of like painstakingly trying to stay as authentic to the Nolan tone and the performance as possible. So I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that we have these two kind of contrasts. And Dragon, I have my my note for how Notarile is playing this Joker, and I think it's kind of amusing. I think you might like this.
Well, the first time was amusing. We completely didn't realize it was Notarile in the role.
Well, keep in mind that's just because I mean, I know he's done on camera stuff before, but I'm more familiar with him behind the director's chair. So, and again, 14 years ago, Dragon. 14 years ago.
Literally had
change in 14 years.
Yeah, but I mean, we've talked to the man, and he literally played himself in the Freakazoid fan film. I'm just saying,
All right, we have Dadpool in the comments also. He says, thanks for reviewing these fan films. It's great stuff.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right, so Dragon, my kind of like finger on the pulse of Notarilli's performance here is very much he's playing the Joker as if the Joker was like the ultimate like boyfriend that any mother would just hate to meet. Like he's playing this as like the ultimate scumbag boyfriend, essentially, and I love it. But like I said, it's very outside of the realm of Heath Ledger. Like at this point, I mean, he does some stuff in the performance in this episode that I don't think Heath Ledger would ever do. But I don't say that in a bad way. I think he's very much making it his own. So, and then also, I'm sorry, I'm trying. Kim Santiago, right? That's the name of the Harley actress?
No. Kim Santiago's the co-director, Tiki. You're thinking of Joanna.
God damn it, I should have checked before I said something. Okay.
Yeah, it's not like there's this thing at the end called the end credits, but yeah, so there's Joanna Telander.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and she's once again, I mean, she was like the more impressive of the two of them last episode, and she's lockstep with him this episode. There's definitely a couple beats with her that I really like, but this was more, I feel like episode 1 was more her showcase, and this was very much Notarile coming into his own as the Joker. So Richard's Victim says, okay, I'm liking this Joker now. Yeah. Richard's Victims, I think you, if I remember correctly, you were kind of saying some elements of like him essentially being basically like Dragon, I'm picturing like, like the ultimate like douchebag mall goth. You know what I mean? That's what I'm picturing for this Joker.
Mall-goth.
Mall-goth, yeah.
As opposed to the ordinary goth, it's a mall-goth.
Dragon, it is a specific difference.
Oh, God.
All
Anyway,
right.
yeah. So here's the
So,
thing.
go ahead.
So this was of the five fan films. Essentially, it's kind of 5 to 6. Six is more like a little Christmas card thing. It's like less than a minute, so I don't know if it really counts. But of the Mr.J series, every time I look back on it, this was never really my go-to in the series of the Mr.J fan films. And I want to be very clear: there's no good reason why as to why that is, because there's nothing wrong with this fan film at all. It's just for me. I mean, this is a big moment in the story, and but it's just in my heart of hearts. This ultimately feels kind of like a retread of everything we set up in the first fan film, and that's mainly because it's kind of what we were talking about last time. Where one of the things that really charmed the heck out of it was how we skipped the sessions in the 3-act structure, and the fact that we have no idea what happened in session 4.
Session 4, I think, was like one of the big hooks of the last one for sure.
So, in kind of a pro and con sort of thing here, we're seeing essentially a session 4 type event in this fan film, which is cool to see, but technically we don't need it. And I think once we see the next fan film, you'll see why. And again, the making of these folks, again, they did not know they were doing.
I mean, I would argue, Dragon. Again, my only argument for that is that I think the only thing is, like, this is, like I said, this is more of like a showcase of Notarille's performance skills than anything that kind of like pushes the plot forward.
Sure. That's fair. Yeah, the other thing to mention with that too is that with Notarile, I think because again we want to keep the compare contrast. And I think basically going from this point forward now, we really the comparisons Joker blogs really only was in the first fan film. So I think we're really diverging off, as
especially because the film was tapes too. It kind of used that structure.
Yeah, so so basically, I want to just condense it mainly to this opening here, and what I want to say is. It's interesting looking at this in comparison to the Joker blogs. One, in the performance of the Joker, because both actors are doing something kind of similar. Only there's kind of a wider kind of net to draw from. Where Scott McClure is working with that the whole show and with that performance. He's working in the framework. We want to try and make this as something that can fit into the Nolan, the Nolan canon. This can fit in like right between Dark Knight Rises, or then it was Batman 3, then ultimately Dark Knight Rises. And in performance-wise, it starts off very, very much, like, okay, so there's a much Heath Ledger impression as you can get that is also a performance. And as it goes on, and as long with the world building as well, and the writing and everything in that series, we're going to try and add classic comic elements, but in a way that, is kind of like Nolan first, and those elements kind of like make logical sense that they would fit into that. And the performance would give us a little bit more like we have elements of Nichols, because, Heath Ledger is kind of a blend of things to some degree as well in the writing and such, where, there's a little bit of Nicholson, a little bit like Cesar Romero in the laugh for Heath Ledger.
Sure.
So it's kind of the same logic there for House. So again, he was ultimately in a long con sort of way making it his own thing as well, in terms of like, we're seeing the Heath Ledger Joker do things we were unfortunately unable to see him do in setting-wise. Like, weren't really able to see him in Arkham and everything for a long extended period of time, and putting him in kind of fun, wacky Joker situations and costume changes and everything aside from the nurse's outfit. So on the flip side, with Notarile, we have something similar there. Only we're fast tracking a lot of this in a really impressive way. Episode 1 was very much we're on the same playing field with we're doing the therapy sessions. This episode, we're essentially we're still in Arkham, but let's just say after this going forward, we're outside the parameters of Arkham. We've done this in like 2 fan films, within like essentially 25 minutes roughly. I'm saying we're getting to a lot of track, and we have a Joker who's not who's basically, we have that. We have the full, like, the big Harley decision. These are things that we were never able to fully see play out in the Joker blogs, that we're kind of getting a lot sooner rather than later. So
I mean, again, like the Joker blogs, like, all due respect to that Harley, but I really do feel like that in that series, Harley was more of a plot device than a fully fleshed out character in her own right. I mean, mostly just because we never really did get to see her go full tilt into the Harley Quinn of it all. So,
I mean, that's the thing. We got I mean, in this season 2, we got pretty close. We were kind of building a lot of track with her, but again, unfortunately, no resolution with those 3 missing episodes. But anyway, my point is, like, you're right. We're kind of like we're giving the audience like the cake that we took so long to bake, essentially, in this in this fan film here. It's like, okay, so we've done all the character work with Harley, getting her to transition, and now we're having the big moment where, okay, so now there's like no going back, and we have like essentially, we're doing the accent, we're giving you the blonde hair, we're having her like commit a horrific act, and Joker is very much getting in our head, so we're doing a lot of stuff there, and very much
American
feels like
girls love guys with accents because they don't got none.
yeah. Anyway, yeah, and of course, Notarile again. This very much feels like kind of the performance stuff that we see in other Notarile performances, but again, kind of tailored a little bit more towards the Joker, which feels kind of a marriage made in heaven with kind of like the manic and kind of like kind of there's something darkly comedic, which is what you want in the Joker that we're doing here.
Sure.
All right, so let me give you like a Scotia background here that I got directly from the source.
Oh, direct from the source. Okay.
Which, by the way, I got an answer to our thing from last week too. So the
what was our thing from last week? Remind me.
The thing from last week was sorry, the question if a certain choice was intentional. It was sorry. I just want to get the exact wording here right. Sorry, just bear with me one sec.
You're good.
Oh yeah, the Joker Journal. Yeah, the Joker Journal was indeed the inspiration behind the AIDS lion joke.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay,
I got that confirmed. The Joker Journal definitely did inspire. Okay, anyway, so getting back and point for the background this week. So this came out September of 2010. So this is a year after the first fan film came out. It's still early in Blinky500, in which they're doing things, but again, a little bit more experience under the belt as more fan films have come out in the interim. This was made because of the overwhelming demand by the fans, because you got to remember this is like during the big boom of kind of everyone looking for the Joker videos online after The Dark Knight came out. So there's a lot of like, oh my god, you got to make more. Plus, this guy's a fan filmmaker; he's just going to keep making these. Why can't I make another Joker one?
Right.
So it was a 3 to 4 hour shoot, and it was shot in Chris.R.Notarile's basement of horrors. It's got a very Halloween themed house, and this was the basement. So the basement was turned into a kill room, Dexter style, with all the plastic and everything. So that's what our set is here. It's basically the logic being they broke out. This was a few hours after the first fan film. They broke out and they kind of turned kind of like I guess like a therapy room or a waiting room into a kill room, and it stayed that way for 3 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah, Notarile he shot a lot of kill room scenes and a number of fan films. He just kind of left the basement like that. It was just convenient. We have Dr. David Thurman in this. Now we mentioned him in the first one. I think it was like a kind of a placeholder kind of name, like Dr. David Thurman. There was no clue we ever have to cast an actor to play that guy. And the actor that we got, Roberto Lombardi. Now, Tiki, did you recognize Roberto?
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say that I have. It's been a while since I've watched some of the Blinky stuff.
Roberto was the Freddy Krueger actor. He's the guy who plays Krueger in essentially all but one of Notarile's Freddy Krueger related stuff. He's great. So let's see.
Also, was Thurman that's not a reference to Uma Thurman, is it?
I mean, I don't know. It might be a kind of that I can ask next time, but I don't know. I don't think so, but who knows? I would say it sounds like a little bit of a weird pull, but then again, Notarile.
It is a weird pull, yeah, but
you never know. Okay.
She was in a Batman movie, and she did play a doctor.
A doctor.
I don't know why I gave that a New England accent at the end.
No, I think I know why. Okay, you ready? You have your mind?
Why?
You said it that way. A doctor. Because you're thinking of Tom Hanks in Catch Me If You Can when he says, "Get him a doctor, a doctor."
Sure, let's go with that, Dragon. That's exactly where my mind went.
But seriously, do you think subconsciously you were thinking of that? Though?
Maybe. All right.
Okay, so also there's kind of you'll notice the vibe in this I felt, which was kind of confirmed, is that there is a natural born killers in Sid and Nancy.
Oh yeah, very much so. Very much so. Yeah.
I definitely got a natural born killers vibe. I've not seen Sid and Nancy, so
I've not seen Sid and Nancy either, but yeah, definitely natural born killers.
yeah. Okay, so let's break it down.
All right.
Okay, so we have this really cool kill room POV shot of just Joker and Harleen, just kind of walking up. And again, this is hours later, like after essentially right where that last one ended. So I guess a few hours later is when we had the breakout happen. This is the aftermath of said bloody breakout.
Mm-hmm.
And Joker's going after Dr. David Thurman, who was kind of the threat of breaking them up, and he was going to go to her. He was going to be assigned to him to kind of by Harley, like Harley saying, yeah, it's a good idea, it's good for your therapy, and then I got really upset with her, and that's what brought them together. Heck of a meet cute. So we have the bound and gagged Dr. David Thurman, who is not dead yet. I love the body language. I still really do love the physicality of Notarili's Joker here, where he's sitting on the lap. He's just, oh, headache. Shh, poor baby. You got headache. Man, you should try these meds that you've been cramming down my throat for the past few months.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. Also, I just like this, the kind of bookendish nature of the first line of this being, see, I told you he wasn't dead. Just because, the last line is going to kind of like bookend that. So just want to note that. All right.
All right, let's see. So we have like the whole back in a sec. So I love that. Yeah, I love that. Is like putting his finger to like the tape.
I feel like with the back in the sec stuff, and like he's almost kind of like Bugs Bunny-esque.
I know, right?
There's one moment in particular that is borderline breaking the fourth wall that we'll get to later.
It's very Looney Tunes-esque.
Right,
does feel on brand. Joker, one being in association with Warner Brothers, but also just being loony. Plus, we've had Joker sing a whole song, a la Mark Hamill.
Yes.
I go loony. Anyway, so
I feel like poor Mark Hamill's vocal cords were kind of stretching it with that delivery, but I respect him for it.
So, Joker, so basically, Joker has turned this event into a teachable moment, kind of a graduation day for Harleen's metamorphosis into Harley Quinn. That's essentially what's going on here, where he tried to split us up, which in reality, I always got the sense that Harleen told Thurman what was going on, referred the Joker to a trusted colleague, but ultimately it does sound like it sounds like Thurman inserted himself, saying, "Hey, Harleen, you got to think ethically here. You got to give them to me." Like, okay,
yeah, it seems like he was maybe the one that was pushing for that to happen, in between session 4 and 5.
That's the implication in the writing here.
Yeah,
That's what makes it sound like. All right, so you're gonna kill him? No, he's outlived his usefulness. He's a prescription writing parasite, which is a lot of good bits of dialogue. So let's see. So okay, so Joker's question, he's philosophizing as he tends to do, which is kind of how he got his clutches into Harley Quinn's psyche here. The whole questions are right. Is it right? We don't need to define ourselves by the bureaucracy's flawed system.
Oh God.
We don't need to do that. So let's see. So she's very much like, I can't, and she's just very much like, no, I can't kill this man. I can't do it. So Joker, he's no, this is great. She says, I can't. I can't. Hey, say it. He's coaxing the accent out of her, and I love this as a payoff to that bit we had in that first one where he could see her slip from the accent, which is her true self that she's been burying, and we have a really great line here. Hey, don't talk like they trained you to talk.
Right. Yeah, that is really cool because the accent is a very important part of her character, and it's cool that they're kind of he's almost kind of weaponizing it in a way.
I know, and I love that. So this isn't me. She's like, this isn't me. And he slaps her. We get the whole abusive Joker Harley kind of dynamic. He slaps her and he brings her in for a hug, and it's like, oh man, so many conflicting emotions for this poor girl. So let's see, Harleen Quinzel is a facade. You know, she's a facade that basically you buried under to hide your true self. If anything, we're gonna kill her today.
Mhm.
Yeah. So she's asking, "What do we do?" And then we have like the runner through the episode, which is just do what I do, let go and laugh a little.
Yeah, and again, this episode it has a few of those like nice little bookends that kind of come back and tie themselves together. So really good writing in that department.
Yeah.
All right, so Dr. Thurman wants to have a word, Dragon.
But he can't because he has tape on his mouth. Yeah, so Thurman's freaking out. You know, Joey's. I love how upset Mr.J is here. Just
can't you see we're in the middle of something?
some people have no manners. He pulls out the iconic knife and everything, which Notarile is very proud of. By the way, they had like pretty much the same knife from the Dark Knight.
Oh, nice, yeah.
You know, we're in the middle of something here. I hate it when people mumble, and he's like rips the tape off. He's just like, "Duh, please don't!" You know, like he's freaking out. He's pleading for his life. Please help me. And just Joker is just. I
And this
love
is specifically the moment I was talking about, where like you would never see Heath Ledger deliver a moment like this. You know what I mean? It is purely him.
Yeah, I love how offended Joker gets here about like I gave you the chance to say something utterly life changing, and he says, "Help me, help me, help me."
Help me! Like you would never see Heath Ledger's. Like I just don't think Heath Ledger's Joker has it in him to do impressions. You know what I mean?
Fair point. Let's see. So okay, you want more? Well, you better make it Oscar worthy.
Oh God, the world's smallest violin is playing. Make it count.
I love that.
I love
Again,
that line. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Even though I think the other some of
I
the
feel
other
like that line is almost like a dance with the devil in the pale moonlight kind of Joker line.
even though I don't know if I'd rank this as high as I would some of the other fan films we're going to get to in this, I still think the dialogue is really on point in this one.
Oh,
World's smallest violin's playing for you, pal. And he taps him with the knife like gingerly on the cheek. Even more menacing. So Thurman, we have his impassioned pleas here, and again Roberto Lombardi here. Again, it's so weird seeing him not threatening.
right.
You know,
That's
compared, given that he's such a great Freddy Krueger. I've known you since. It's a long story short. Like I've known you since med school. You've never been like this. I was looking out for you, and then she's like, I'm sorry I let you anywhere near this monster, and that's what sets her off.
Yeah, that was his mistake. That right there.
That was his mistake, Tiki.
Yes, thank you. I wasn't actually going to reference that, but thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, here, so Harley here, she basically she unleashes the accent, man. She unleashes her inner Arlene Sorkin. Rest in peace. Yeah, she unleashes the Arlene Sorkin, who's like the mad love moment, like coming out there. You know, just like stop. You don't you dare call him that.
That is classic. That is classic abuse. That is a classic like abuse victim mentality.
I love her. I love the performance here. Thurman, he begins to weep because he knows when she responds like that, I'm so dead.
Right.
You know, he knows it's curtains for him, and like,
oh God,
and she's starting to rant again. This whole sequence here, honestly, this to the end is very much. This is where I get the whole natural born killers vibe here, where it's like, it's very much what we have with that performance.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we have this whole thing of Juliette Lewis, by the way, that's what the name I was searching for. Just Juliette Lewis in Natural Born Killer. So he's the only thing that's ever made sense in my entire life. And then we have the bit.
Yeah, this is very much like the Bugs Bunny playing the Joker.
Chuckles to himself.
Really something.
That says a lot.
Oh God. And again, it's like very, very, it's like pushing right up against the fourth wall.
Absolutely, but again, it's like Joker's kind of laughing. It's so twisted too. It's like he's trying to, in his demented way, help her, but also remind you, like he's really just entertained, amused by somebody who's like gone that crazy for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, that says a lot. So don't call me Harleen. It's Harley Quinn, and
Okay,
I love it.
hold on. We have to give this moment its due because I love the pause, Dragon.
Oh yeah.
The pause. It's Harley. The name is Harley Quinn. I don't know. There's something about that pause. It's just kind of iconic for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is like, there's very much like a Harley Quinn. Yeah. Okay, so, and I love them. So then we have us Joker saying, "Well, sorry, Doc." They retapes him like, "Shh, the big kids are talking." So then we have a moment that I think is like, kind of kicks the David Ayer Suicide Squad here a little bit, where we have the big thing like "Prove your love to me" scene. Like, instead of like being a whole like, we're at the chemical factory, he's like, "Hey, you want to prove your love to me?" And he's like, Jared Leto's not doing
Well,
this
this
thing
is
well.
very much like kind of like the big moment I was talking about in regards to like if any mother saw this going down with their daughter, it'd just be like, oh no, what the hell has my daughter gotten herself into? Why?
Why clowns, Harley? Why clowns? We sent you to college,
I
not
mean, he just
clown
very much
college.
just is like radiating the whole like bad influence vibe.
Yep. Okay,
Right.
so we have this bit here where so you want to prove your love to me more than anything. This is like, that's my girl. Well, how do we do it? And so I asked Notarile about this bit here. So he hands her a pipe. Now, here's what happens. So the pipe is a fill-in for the crowbar because they do not have access to the crowbar. Now, I asked him like, hey, do you consider like a hammer or like a sledgehammer? And he says, no, it's supposed to be going for the crowbar. Now, look, the crowbar makes sense obviously because of killing Robin and beating anyone to death with the Joker correlates to the crowbar, no question. But if the thing is Harley's going to do this, and if it was Harley, then it's a missed opportunity. If we can't get a crowbar, it's one thing, but we can get a hammer or a sledgehammer or something. I know there's safety for the actor, clearly, but my point is, like, still, like, in terms of what our prop is, it feels like we're building to the giant mallet.
I don't know. I mean, like you said, it's clearly emulating the Robin of it all, so I didn't really have a problem with it.
I mean, no, sure. No, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying it makes you wonder, though, if we can't get the crowbar, it feels like we would have gone with the hammer instead of the lead pipe. But anyway, point being, long metal thing is not going to be comfy if you get hit with it. So hands are the ends of the lead pipe there. And oh yeah, right. So just let go and laugh a little, and boy does she go make me proud.
Well, he does too, though. I mean, I love one of my favorite deliveries from Notarile here is when she first starts, he literally does like the pointed laugh, like a fucking middle school bully.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's great. So she also says the big line, "Anything you say, Mr.J." She just goes over there and she beats Dr. Thurman a lot. Joker's laughing up a storm. He's pointing. He's laughing. He's got like, oh man, this is hilarious, and we're getting blood spatter and everything on her. And then we have the full circle bit, Tiki.
Yeah, Harley. I think he's dead.
Love the way he delivers
Yeah,
that.
I love the delivery of that. It's just so like.
It's like, okay, killer. Okay, we got him. And if I have it right, I don't know if you heard a different thing or not, because unfortunately, with some of the Blinky500 films, sound quality.
Yeah, okay, I'm glad I wasn't the only one who thought the sound quality on this last.
It's a lot in the early Blinky stuff. I think we've now ushered out like the later stuff. I think occasionally it rears his head because again, it's like some sound can be difficult on like a fan film. But
sound, I can attest that in my filmmaking days, like being mostly in high school. Yes, I know. Sound was definitely the hardest thing for a novice, for sure. Not calling Notarile a novice, of course. I mean, he has way more experience.
I'm just saying this is like still early in his filmmaking career.
Right,
I think now he's gotten a lot better with it, but Steven so it's like sometimes.
But yeah, sound is hard, man. It's definitely the most tricky element of filmmaking, I think.
But I think if I heard it right, and I kept replaying it, and I think I got it. I didn't put the closed. I can never trust the YouTube closed captions.
Oh, I know. I hear you on that.
Essentially, I believe I'm convinced
I
that
think
she
the YouTube
says
closed captions aren't as useless as they used to be, but yeah, they're still.
they work for studio trailers, but that's about it these days. Anyways, it says, "Want to do it again?"
Yeah.
So I believe that's what she
You
said.
know, I thought she said, "Can we do it again?" So
well, fine. Well, the point being, can we do it? Fine. Can we or want to? Can we do it
one
again?
of the two. Yeah, something having to do with doing it again.
Yeah, let's do essentially. Let's do it again. You know.
When
So,
can we do this again?
anyway, so yeah, she's they can kill some other people in Arkham before they leave, just for giggles.
Oh God.
And yeah, that's it.
All right. So yeah, honestly, Dragon, I don't want to say. Again, I think Notarilli's performance has markedly improved since episode 1. I think episode 1 might, again, just with that session 4 of it all, might be a little stronger. But this was still pretty damn good. And if this is the weakest of the 5, then I'm really excited for what we have
Oh
coming.
yeah, you're gonna really like where we go from here.
All right.
Yeah, just again, I always like looking at the Blinky500 fan films because they were very formative for me. They were some of the early stuff that I uncovered on YouTube in the kind of the fan film circuit of things. And obviously the Mr.J series is a special place in my heart. So this is it's good kind of going through them and kind of like really breaking them down and just kind of seeing how they stack up, especially looking at these. Obviously, they're feeding into a hole, so retroactively, there's something kind of fun there. But even just looking at them kind of like as a standalone kind of piece, and as a standalone piece, this is mainly a performance showcase, as Tiki said earlier. And but it also it is kind of a neat little puzzle piece within the grander design of her story. So it was good. Again, I mean, we'll see how well the others stack up for me. It's been a long while since I've gone back to them. But I recall, the next ones are really good.
Cool. All right. Well, big thanks to Richard's victims as well as Dadpool for joining us in the comments. We'll see y'all later.
Alrighty.
Harley Quinn.
I think he's dead.
Harley